Hey guys, welcome back to the video. I hope you all are doing great. In today's video, as the title says, how does the blockchain work? More about crypto and also about the Web 3.0 also. But today's video is going to be the part 1. Next video you'll be having the part 2, but today's video the part 1 will be just talking about blockchain, and we're going to talk about Web 3.0. Now, if you have not watched the previous video, the link will be there in the description. I've spoken about how the metaverse is going to help the programmers. So, in that video, I've spoken about a little bit about blockchain, and I had promised you that I'll be bringing a video on blockchain, about how it works, and Web3 3.0, which I mentioned in that video. So today is going to be the part 1. The part 2, you will be learning about how this crypto thing works, all those things. So without wasting any time, let's get straight into the video, guys. So first, let's talk about the Web 3.0. And then it'll be easier for us to understand the whole blockchain, how this blockchain works, all those things. Now, before we understand what this Web 3.0 is, we need to understand what Web 1.0 was and Web 2.0 was. Now, Web 1.0 was basically from 1991 to 2004. Uh, it was basically the internet was a bunch. It was just a bunch of static pages, which could be called read-only pages. Also, you can call it as. Whereas in this Web 1.0, the users, basically I and you and all the users, were just consumers. So we should just get the page. That's it. Just read only page. So that was till 2004. Until then, from 2004 till today, we got the Web 2.0. Uh, Here it's completely different from the Web 1.0. We not just get the information from how we did it in Web 1.2, like just read only information, but the pages were also getting information from us, and these information were stored and they're further known as data. Now let me give you an example. uh, Now you visited Facebook, and in Facebook you might watch some video or some post, you like some post, you post something, or you do something in Facebook. Now Facebook's algorithm is built in such a way that it observes whatever you do and stores it in a data. Now this data, they can use it for their personal use, to increase or upgrade their platform. But moreover, what they do with this data is they provide this for advertisement. Now for example, again I'll take the example of Facebook. Now you're in Facebook and you are searching about shoes, and you found some shoes which you really liked, and you commented on it or you liked it. Maybe you saved the shoes post in Facebook. Now what Facebook does is basically stores your data, and from that data it gives the data to the advertisers who wants to advertise their product. And later, after few hours, or maybe after one day, you will start getting advertisements of shoes, and you will get recommendations from Facebook itself, the page. You will get advertisements. So basically, in the Web 1.0, you were just having the read only information, where you can get information from the page. But in Web 2.0, you were getting information from the page. Also you were getting the page was also getting information from you. So this was how the Web 2.0 worked. But if you see, it is actually not safe, that your privacy is not secure in Web 2.0. But talking about Web 3.0, that is not the case. Now I'll be explaining what this Web 3.0 is. Now in Web 3.0, you are the owner of the whole web or the whole internet. Now, whatever you do, whatever the things happen is basically happening in the blockchain. Now, blockchain is a system that is so tightly secured that whatever data the page gets, it's hardly difficult to analyze or hardly difficult to get to know from where it was derived from. So the whole Web3 concept is basically, in the simpler way of to tell you, that you're the owner of the whole web or the whole internet, and where there is total privacy, and moreover it is a decentralized, and based on a blockchain. Now, about this decentralized and blockchain, don't worry, I'll be talking about that also. Now, this is how the web went from 1.0 to web 2.0, and now uh, they are telling that web 3.0 is starting very soon. But as I mentioned, when the metaverse will start, or from where the metaverse is going to be the beginning, I'm sure that's going to be the beginning of the web 3.0. Now, talking about the blockchain. Now, this technique was originally described in 1991 by a group of researchers. uh, it was actually originated from. Now, this whole concept was a different basis. If you see, it is in 1991, similarly when web 1.0 was there. So at that time it was just a theory base, basically, if you see. But later on, in 2009, Satoshi Nakamoto adapted to create a digital cryptocurrency called Bitcoin. Now, I'm sorry if I've spelled the name wrong. I can say the person who have created the Bitcoin, the cryptocurrency, uh, the one who brought the concept of cryptocurrency, adapted this whole blockchain of how this uh, thing works. So now let us understand how this blockchain works, how these things work, because we understood the history of blockchain. But now let's understand what blockchain, how it works. So once a blockchain records a document, it becomes very difficult to change it. Now that's what I mentioned in Web 3.0. Once your data is recorded, it becomes very difficult to analyze, or it becomes very difficult to manipulate it. So hence it makes you get into more privacy than whatever you do in the internet. Now here's a simple diagram. Now in this diagram, if you observe, it's basically a block, but I've put the text. If you see, it's basically there's data, hash, and hash of the previous block. Now don't worry, I'll be explaining you what it is. Now the top of the block is basically what I've mentioned. Data is basically the data what you do, or the one which you store. For example, I'll tell you, you have a document, and a document is recorded, or let's assume there's A and there's B. So A sends Bitcoin to B, and the transaction, or the transfer of this blockchain, the Bitcoin gets recorded, and that's the data. See, the top of the block is basically the data, and hash is something like a password, or you can say something like a fingerprint password. It becomes very difficult to open it until unless your fingerprint is there, or your finger, once your finger is scanned, then only it opens. So something, hash is something like a very strong password that is given. And hash of the previous block is basically the password of the previous block. Now you must be wondering what this hash of the previous block is, because hash is at least understandable. Basically it's password that will be required. That's how it makes it private, this whole blockchain private. But what is this hash of the previous block? So let me tell you what is this whole thing, the whole how this previous hash works. But before that, we need to understand that to change it, or to change this whole hash, or to change this whole block, or this to manipulate this, it takes a lot of time. Now, why does this happen? Is because it is a time period which is called as proof of work. Now, this proof of work will help us a lot. Now, I'll explain you how. Now, suppose let's assume there's a hacker and who's trying to, hack this A and B, as he's sending blockchain to B. A is sending again and again I'm telling blockchain, it's actually Bitcoin. So A is sending Bitcoin to B, and there's a hacker who's trying to get this Bitcoin, right? Now, the thing is, if he's trying to hack it, he needs this hash. Now, what happens is, when this hash is going to become the previous hash of the block, what happens is there's a time that is taken that is called as the proof of work. Now, proof of work takes so long time that it slows down the person who's trying to do this, almost making it impossible for the hacker to get the data from. So that's how this whole blockchain is so secured, and that's why the Web 3.0 is so secured that whatever you do is totally secured, nor anyone can manipulate it, because once it is recorded, it can't be changed. It is, it's difficult to change. Secondly, you have the proof of work, right? So that makes it difficult. Now let me explain you what this hash of previous block is. Now, as I explained you about this, about this hacker trying to hack and to get the Bitcoin from, going into B's hand. Now, this previous hash is basically the hash or the password of the previous block. Now, if you're seeing a blockchain, it is basically one block, there's two blocks, there's three blocks, and four blocks. So what happens is, each block is given a hash or password. Now, what happens right here is, in order to get a new hash or new password, the previous hash has to be combined together with the the new hash, or the hash you call it as. Now, for example, there is a hacker trying to, as I told, get the information extracted. What happens is, immediately a new block is created, another block is created, another block is created. So here what happens is, once the new blocks are started to create, the proof of works becomes more and more intense, more and more difficult, more and more, it slows down the person who's trying to extract the information. Now, why this happens? Because each and every time the password is getting changed, right? Basically, your hash is getting changed. When your hash gets changed, the proof of works also increases. Due to this, when you're getting your block, you get a block with the previous hash with it. So that's how this previous hash, this whole hash, or you can call it as the password, works for the blockchain. Now, this is how a simple blockchain works. Basically, when there's one block, that's one block of yours, and then there's multiple blocks created in order to make it secure, tightly secure. So it becomes, end of the day, it becomes very difficult to manipulate it, to change it. So that's the advantage of blockchain, that's the advantage of the Web3, what I was talking about. But similarly, it has many other disadvantages. I'm not going to talk in this video. Definitely I'm going to talk in the next video, that's going to be the part 2 of it, where I'll not just be talking about the disadvantages of blockchain, I'll also be talking about the cryptography, the simple basic concepts of it, and you will be able to understand the whole concept of this blockchain, and then about this crypto, and you can also relate to the previous topic which we made the video on, how the metaverse is going to help the programmers. I hope you guys really like this video, and I hope you guys have watched the previous video where the how I've spoken about how this metaverse is going to help the programmers. So if you have not checked it out, make sure you check out the video. The link is in the description, or there'll be an I button top right here. Click the link and watch that video. Till then, guys, happy coding and peace out.